Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us at the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Stefan Reels. We want to start on what some are calling a major win in labor rights. In one of his last acts as president, Joe Biden canceled out 2 policies. Now, this move helps more public servants like teachers, nurses, and police officers have more access to their benefits once they retire. And this has been a moment many people have waited years to see, especially here in our state.
There's a part of it that just feels like you can't believe it's actually finally happening.
For Connecticut Education Association President Kate Diaz, this moment Sunday afternoon was surreal.
All right.
With that signature by President Joe Biden, the Social Security Fairness Act has officially become law.
The job is a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community.
This move cancels out 2 policies which are said to have made it hard for public servants to get their Social Security benefits once they retire. Those policies were the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset.
Americans who have worked hard all their lives to earn an honest living should be able to retire with economic security and dignity.
Now those benefits will be received in full. Senator Richard Blumenthal called this reform one of basic justice and a monumental victory.
For the past 50 years, they've been deprived of full Social Security benefits because of mistakes in legislation that are 50 years old. We have corrected a 50-year-old mistake.
A mistake that has impacted almost 2.5 million Americans and more than 30,000 people here in Connecticut alone. But that mistake is now fixed.
We're really talking about real money that people paid into a system that they're going to be able to finally access. These were barriers to people coming into our profession if they had worked in private sector. Now those barriers are gone. We can start welcoming people in for second careers. We're talking about billions of dollars being returned to the economic futures of our states. These are really a tremendous, tremendous opportunity.
Now, how much retirees will receive from this law will be based on which policies impacted them. But Diaz tells me that this could be anywhere from a few $100s to thousands of dollars. And these benefits will be retroactive for 2024. So anyone who was already retired then will receive a lump sum for what they missed out on in benefits in that time. New tonight out of Bridgeport, police say an aggravated assault is now the city's first homicide investigation of 2025, and there is still a suspect on the loose. It happened on Lake Street last night. 27-year-old Stephen Vega was found shot several times, and he was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Police say he passed away this morning. And only 40 minutes ago, Bridgeport police sent out this wanted flyer. The suspect's name in this murder is 47-year-old Nelson Garcia of Bridgeport. He is considered armed and dangerous, and if you know where he is, dial 911 immediately. A stretch of East Street in Southington was closed for several hours today. Crews had to clean up after a car struck a utility pole, splitting that pole in half. It happened early this morning between Savage Street and Candlewood Lane. It's not clear what caused the crash, but the driver was sent to the hospital with minor injuries. Eversource, as you can see, was on scene today to repair the pole. Time for a quick check on the forecast. The chill moves into start this work week, but thankfully, the winter storm that many of us have our eyes on are staying. South meteorologist Deshaun Robinson joins us right now with what to expect this week. Deshaun, really weird to say this during the winter time. I'm from Virginia. I'm much happier to be up in Connecticut right now than what they're about to expect.
Yeah, places down south are bracing for a major winter storm that is likely to impact parts of the mid-Atlantic tonight into tomorrow. Thankfully, in our area, that storm will stay south of our region. However, we are watching next weekend closely as another system tries to form. But the big question is the northern energy going to merge with the southern energy at the right time to create a big storm for the northeast? We will keep you updated as the week goes along. Otherwise, the remainder of the week will be cold and dry, especially into Friday. So this is that storm that will impact the mid-Atlantic tomorrow with snow and ice. And some of these places will see their biggest storm in years. It is partly cloudy to mostly cloudy right now across much of the state. And tonight, we do expect our temperatures to tumble into the lower to mid-20s for much of our region. Winds coming from the west around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday will be a cold one. Our high temperatures will struggle to climb above freezing. 26 on the hills, 31 in the inland areas, and 32 along the shoreline. Coming up, I'll let you know more about this week's weather. Stefan?
Thanks, Deshaun. And new tonight, a tragedy was nearly avoided in Monroe thanks to the help of a man who bravely rushed towards a car on fire to save the driver. 2 cars crashed on Purdy Hill Road near the intersection of Teller Road last night. One of those cars quickly caught fire, as you can see. The driver of that car was stuck inside, but Sean Wollenberg lives nearby. He heard the crash, rushed outside, and helped get that driver out. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Fox 61 was able to talk to Sean over social media, and he told us that, quote, "I did not care that there was a fire. I had to help once I found out that there was a man trapped inside his car," end quote. The inaugural Mothers Against Drunk Drivers Drive 5K was held today at Fairfield University. Hundreds of runners, as you can see, helped raise money for that organization's local Connecticut chapter. Today's race is the brainchild of John Beisitwitz. He owns JB Sports Event Management in Branford. In 2022, a drunk driver struck him while he was riding a bike, and the crash cost him a leg. Tonight's event is a way to remember people who lost something to someone else's poor decision.
We want to remember the victims, the many, all too many victims of the crime of drunk driving or impaired driving. So we want people to remember people. We want them to remember loved ones, coworkers, etc. Go out and enjoy life, but have a plan as to how you and your loved ones perhaps are going to get home safely.
Gargiello tells us Connecticut is one of the top 5 states for the highest percentage of fatal crashes involving alcohol. We have more on the links page of fox61.com if you would like to learn more about Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And let's look ahead to the top stories we're following this week. Starting off in Meriden, the town council is scheduled to vote on adoptions of funds to finally knock down a blighted building. The former International Silver Company still stands on Cook Avenue. Town leaders will vote on whether to adopt a $2.6 million capital investment grant to knock it down. Tune in tomorrow night to learn the plan and if it is adopted and what new development could spring up after the factory comes down. And on Tuesday, 2 New Britain schools will go phone-free, but kids will carry their devices with them still, but through a Yonder pouch. Pulaski Middle School and Slade Middle School will implement the policy for the rest of the year. Students will put their phones in the pouch during homeroom and then take them out of the pouch at the end of the day. If kids don't lock their phones up, they'll first get it taken away, but if they continue to not lock up their phone, they could get suspended. Then on Wednesday, Portland is scheduled to select the town's new first selectman. Last month, firefighter Sean Manning was tapped for the role, but tragically, he died moments after the meeting, struck and killed by a driver. The new appointee will close out the remainder of the current first selectman Ryan Curley's term. He resigned from the position. It's day 2 of funeral services for former President Jimmy Carter. There was a steady stream of mourners at the Carter Center where the 39th president is lying in repose. Visitors can walk through the Carter Center, which is full of memorabilia, photographs, and information about Carter's life and legacy. Our media partners in Atlanta were able to walk inside and see his casket, and it's surrounded by the Honor Guard 24/7. People of all ages coming by to take in this historic moment and say a final goodbye to the first and only Georgia-grown president.
President Carter represents the best of humanity, and being able to have this opportunity to honor him and to celebrate his remarkable life was important to my family and I.
Georgians have until Tuesday at 6 a.m. to pay their respects. And from Atlanta, the former president's remains will be flown aboard Special Air Mission 39 to Joint Base Andrews. He will arrive in Washington the afternoon of January 7th. A motorcade will take him to the U.S. Navy Memorial and then to the U.S. Capitol, where members of Congress will pay their respects. He will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol until the morning of January 9th. The former president's national funeral service is on the 9th at Washington National Cathedral. He will then make his final return to Georgia for a private burial in Plains. New tonight, we want to highlight a young jazz musician who wowed a crowd here at Hartford Public Library tonight. Today was the start of the annual Baby Grand Jazz Series, and this 17-year-old saxophone protege is living proof that hard work pays off. Fox 61's Kayla Cade reports.
I got to put together my own band and choose a bunch of my favorite songs, and I had an hour set. It was amazing. So yeah, super awesome.
Her name is Chloe Madrak. She started playing the saxophone when she was 8 years old.
And I chose the saxophone because I liked listening to jazz.
And about 2 years later, she started playing jazz. Music has always been a part of her life, whether it was through family.
I come from a very musical family, so I was inspired by my family members who are musicians.
Or through the community, which she says jazz is deeply rooted in Hartford. According to the Hartford Jazz Society, despite the stock market plunging in the 1930s, jazz's stock market was rising in the city. Connecticut has some notable jazz artists like Hartford native Dick Carey and Middletown native Jack O'Brien, who were some of the first American jazz musicians to perform throughout Europe in the 1920s. The state even had idols like Benny Goodman and Duke Ellington performing in Hartford. Madrak is working to make a name for herself. She's received multiple awards throughout her high school career, like the Outstanding Soloist Award at the Charles Mingus Festival in High School Competition in 2024, and hopes to study music beyond high school.
I am currently applying to music schools, kind of in New York area.
And we wish her luck. That was our Kayla Cade reporting. Now, if you missed Madrak's performance Sunday evening, she's always playing at her high school, William H. Hall High School, and also in the school's show called Pops and Jazz.